Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Holy Joe Rock and Roll Show, live and unscripted.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? It is Holy Joe Rock and Roll here, live and unscripted, 8 p.m. stream, live. And today I want to talk about hard luck stories and the people who tell them and why. All right, so there's 5 people at least that I have in mind that I want to talk about. Maybe we'll come up with more than 5 people in the course of this stream, but there's at least 5 people that I want to talk about. Feel free to super chat or throw a tip in the tip jar at paypal.me/HJRR, Holy Joe Rock and Roll. So, all right, let's get started with the first victim, perhaps. So, Tony Robbins. Everybody knows Tony Robbins. Huge success. He's worth multi-billion dollars. His business is doing at least $5 billion a year now. His hard luck story is that, when he was 17, he was kicked out of the house. He was abused as a child, physically, mentally. His mom put a kitchen knife to him and said, "Get out of the house," when he was 17. And then I guess he had some shitty jobs. He was homeless. Whatever. This is the story, right? This is the mystique, or the mythos, the myth that they try to, the rags to riches myth, right? Now, I don't know what part of it is true or not true. But and we're going to see a constant theme, okay? I don't know what's true, what's not true. We assume it's true. He's been telling the story for at least 20 years, 30 years perhaps. So, probably it is true. But the thing is, the rags to riches, or the, shitty childhood to amazing success, is a theme, that we see quite often in all of these stories. And we're going to see it repeated in these stories of these people that we're going to go through. So, obviously, he, if the stories are true, then, he had a, terrible quote-unquote terrible childhood. Look, who the hell doesn't have a terrible childhood? And that's why I want to take a step back. Take a step back. Well, this is live and unscripted. I just sort of thought about each of these characters, but I want to just talk another quick story. I forget all of the details, but there was a college student who I think got into trouble with the law. Something happened where he got public exposure. And he had been telling people in college that he was an orphan, that both of his parents had died when he was a very young child. And this came to the public light. He was on TV. Everybody was crying for this guy. And then it turns out that it was all a lie. His parents got on the horn and said, "Hey, we're his parents. He's not it's not an orphan. His parents were still alive." And basically that guy had made up the story for sympathy. Because when normal people with good hearts, good intentions, hear a story like that, they feel bad for the person and they want to help them. They want to help out. So this guy was getting some kind of help from different peoples, and he was telling the story, this fabrication, this lie. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know that any of these people are lying. That's not what the purpose of this video is. But I just want to throw that out there, that it is a technique, as Benjamin Owen, we'll get to him later, would call wizardry, right? Like a wizard using words to get things that you want. And it's quite effective. So with Tony Robbins, his story is that, he was poor and homeless and blah, 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 single mom, whatever. And now he's this amazing motivational speaker. The only sort of criticism I have of Tony, Tony, I think he has good intentions. He is a wizard, but I think he has good intentions overall. I believe. I mean, I don't know that much about him. I think, oh, he's married. He has a daughter, at least one child that I'm aware of. But modeling. I mean, if you've gone through any of his courses, of course, they're available on the internet, on the torrents. But I think I got it at the library at the time. His whole, 6 cassette course was available in the library back in the day. And I listened to the whole thing, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty interesting, cool, good stuff. But he had this thing called modeling, where if you see a successful person, if you walk like them, if you talk like them, if you move like them, you could be successful like them. And I understand, the theory behind it, right? Basically, you want to model yourself after successful people. We would often talk about that in the military as following a career path. So find someone and model your career after their career path, right? So if they were, like a sonar officer first, then they were, division commander, and then they were, XO on a ship or whatever, you see that's a proven pathway to rise in the structure. So model yourself after them. I understand that. But look, if your boss is a fat Jabba the Hutt, I wouldn't recommend you modeling yourself after them, right? So there are some limitations to it. But anyhow, I digress. So that's Tony Robbins, and that's his story. So that he was, the blah, 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 whatever. The next guy is Depak Chopra, a known wizard, and one actress said that he was a fraud. She called him a fraud a year after I did this video. If you, I forget her name, I think Anna something. I forget her name, but I was looking for my own video to get this picture, and I saw her video on YouTube, and it said, Amy, or whatever her name is, calls Depak Chopra a fraud. And she had been on some late night show with him and said, hey, how do you like your diamond encrusted eyeglasses and something like that, and whatever. She just said he was a fraud. Anyways, it is pretty obvious that he's a fraud. And I was wrong about Depak. I thought he grew up in poverty. The dude went to medical school in India. He had both of his parents. One of his parents was a surgeon, I think, or a doctor, or something like that. Anyways, he did not grow up in any kind of impoverished environment that I'm aware of, except that he had to live in a shithole named India in New Delhi, which he was born in 1946. 1946, New Delhi was a shithole, right? It kind of still is. I've never been there. I just see videos of guys like Mark Wiens going there, and it's not a place that I would want to go. I'm just saying. I can make my own Indian food here. The spices are easy to figure out. There's people on YouTube teaching you how to make Indian food. You don't have to go to India to make Indian food. So I was a little bit wrong about this guy, but he is a charlatan. He's a wizard. And Depak, he's one of the, he's not one of the new atheists, but he's part of the New Age movement, which again was, a way to get people away from Christianity, get people away from organized normal religion. And he was sort of in that first wave, this transcendental meditation and Ayurvedic medicine, where you stick coffee enemas up your ass every morning. And that's supposed to cure you or keep you healthy. I don't know, has anybody tried that? I mean, did anybody swear by that? I mean, the main thing that I liked about him was that he was talking about dealing with the symptoms, that Western medicine deals with the symptoms. So like a heart attack, if you got a heart attack, they'll do open heart surgery. And he realized that you're just dealing with the symptoms, let's deal with the root cause. The root cause might be cholesterol, so it's bad diet, or it's lack of exercise, or something like that, right? So that's the part of Depak that I liked. But the part of, Ayurvedic medicine, I can't really get into it. I understand herbal medicines can be helpful. And, I mean, look, coffee's a drug, right? It perks you up, right? But if you've been drinking coffee for a couple of years, it doesn't do a lot, right? I mean, I drink 2 cups of coffee in the morning, and I barely get a buzz. And when I was working at this major American corporation where they encourage sodomy, where I asked the question, I don't even know if they had caffeinated coffee, because I think I would drink 4 cups of coffee, and I didn't feel anything. So whatever. I digress. Maybe it was just weak stuff, cheap stuff. So that's Depak. I was wrong about Depak. I thought maybe he grew up, he had a hard luck story, but it's not true. It's, as far as I can tell. And I have not heard him talk about his rough upbringing. Yeah, Alleluia says New Wave BS for Depak. So the next guy, and I don't know if you guys know this guy, he's very popular. His name is D-SIGGAs or SIGGAs. SIGGA's Life Story. D-SIGGAs is his channel on YouTube at DCIGS. And this guy was hilarious, man. I found his videos online because I don't know why, I don't know how, it just popped up, it was suggested. And he had, this video is probably over 10 years old, but he was doing these prank calls. So, he called up this Chinese restaurant, and he was talking in some, a strange voice, and he was like, "Hello, I'd like to order some ding dong dong bong dong ding dong dong chicken." And he did it with a straight face. It was so hilarious, man. Anyway, so I on and off would follow this guy, and this is where I picked up the expression, "What up, bitch-ass niggas?" Because he says it. So if he says it, I can say it. Because after all, I'm half black from the waist down, if you know what I'm talking about. I fold that shit in half so it doesn't drag out the cuff, the bottom cuff. All right, I'm just serious. But anyhow, I digress. So this guy is hilarious, but he has a hard luck story, okay? A real hard luck story where, no father, single mom, and the mom married 2 different weird-ass guys. One of them was pedophile. The other guy was sort of pedophile light. And, touching on him. That's his story. That's what he says. He basically, I think his mom, something happened to his mom. Either she might have died or she's in prison or whatever. So he was living with his grandma. And grandma seemed to be a pretty solid woman from the islands, I think from Barbados. Seemed to be a pretty solid woman, a really, a loving, caring woman. Took care of this guy. And he was funny. I mean, he still is funny, can be funny. But to fast forward to like the last month, this joker was trying to get some pussy, is what he says. Now, this is what he says. He was with some female, and her boyfriend came home. So he jumped out of a 2-story window, and he busted both of his ankles. All right? And he went to see the doctor, and the latest update is that he needs to have some really special surgery because the cartilage between his leg bone and the ankle bone is just destroyed. And the best outcome is that they'll be able to fix him so that he'll be able to walk. But they say he's never going to be able to run again, for sure. And he needs to quit smoking. This guy smokes a lot of cigarettes and weed, and he can't have any nicotine in his system. Otherwise, it could cause an infection in his damaged legs. And if there is an infection, they're going to have to amputate his feet. So that's this guy, SIGGAs. But look, I'm not blaming him because he is a funny guy, and his friends are just, ignorant people. As far as I can tell, I mean, a couple of his friends look like they work. This guy refuses to work, or he can't work, or now he's going to be probably on disability with 2 broken-ass ankles. But just as an aside, apparently before YouTube changed the algorithm, this guy was making about $100,000 a year off of YouTube. He was very successful. He had I don't know, I think it was 500,000 or 5 million followers. Yeah, and he was really doing well. So I can't blame him. The only thing is, he didn't save any money. And he's been struggling ever since. Now, SIGGAs, if you're listening to this is Holy Joe Rock and Roll, also known as Jeremiah Johnson, also known as Joe Bonsai Poland. I did ask you what your waist size was, thinking that I could maybe send you some of my old jeans that you could still wear. They still have use out of them, but your waist size is too big. So it makes no sense for me to send you the clothes. So I'm sorry I didn't get back to you. But listen, God bless you and stay strong. Stop smoking. I know you're going to save those feet, save those legs, because it's really important to you, man. You can do this. You can do this. So this is a guy who's struggling. But getting back to the whole theme of this video, hard luck stories, he does fall back on the hard luck stories, or he has in the past, to garner sympathy from his fans. And but you know, he does. In my opinion, he has worked hard to earn the loyalty and the trust of his followers. So if you haven't already discovered SIGGAs and you want to, I mean, especially some of his older stuff, it's hilarious. It is hilarious. And he's black man angry at such and such. Like, you do videos like black man angry at whatever, KFC, McDonald's, does some crazy stuff. And some of it is really funny. And the thing, Sigs, if I could advise you, man, get your legs fixed, do the recovery, and you're going to have to really work. You're going to have to give it a chance. If you want to stay in this comedy game, you really need to start working the clubs. I mean, you're in Houston, Texas. There's got to be comedy clubs that'll let you go on stage. With your disability check, should be enough to float you, because you're not going to get paid while you're just, jumping on stage. But people will buy you drinks and maybe buy you dinner. So that's something you can think about, man. Work on that. Now, the next up for bids is Stefan Molyneux. I did this video on Stefan Molyneux. What pisses me off about Stefan Molyneux and Happy New Year. And it turns out that I didn't start following or didn't even know about Stefan Molyneux until the 2016 campaign, when I noticed, his videos were being suggested to me, where he was doing videos like The Truth About Donald Trump, right? The Truth About Donald Trump. And since I was supporting Donald Trump since late June, early July of 2016, I wanted to see what's going on, man. Here's a guy who also supports Donald Trump. What's going on? So that's where I started. That's where I came in. But if you go back a little bit further, and we'll get into his backstory in just a second, but Stefan Molyneux is fucking weird, man. The more I look into it, the more weirder I find this guy. Now, maybe he's coming back to the light. I don't know, but this is a 2014 article. It says the day Joe Rogan discovered the real Stefan Molyneux. Now, Stefan, the Bible says, honor thy mother and father. Now, he had, according to him, his father left him when he was very young, like, I don't know, 6 months, 2 years, something like that. His dad's still alive, but he has no contact with his dad, and whatever. That's his life, right? But Stefan has this thing called the DFOO, Family, FOO, so Family Organization something. I don't even know what it stands for. I can't remember what it stands for. Does it say over here? DFOO, whatever. This DFOO, were basically, it's almost like, it sounds like a cult. And that's why I'd heard people say that he was a cult leader. People that were in the FDR, the Free Domain Radio community. Now, this is Free Domain Radio Liberated, talking about this. Now, so the thing about this is that Stefan has been saying, basically break off relations with your parents. That no matter how good you think you had it as a childhood, you had a shitty childhood. Which is really bizarre. Now, his story is that, his dad left when he was little, or right after he was born. And his mom was messed up. Single mom, male callers coming to the house. He was like living in the streets, living like the council estates in the UK is basically projects. Like a British person born in Ireland but living in the ghettos, basically, or the shitty parts of London. Look, Stefan, man, you had a shitty childhood, man. I guess it's from if what you're saying is true, but compared to what? And I mean, I don't think I had a shitty childhood, but everybody had struggles, everybody had strains, everybody had, issues. Nobody had a perfect childhood. I mean, I think, do you remember? This is when it hit me. I think I was like maybe 4 or 5, between 4 and 5, when I realized the world didn't revolve around me, right? Because until about 4, you were just in your own little bubble. Mom and Daddy took care of you. Everything was cool. And then around 5, you started asking for things. And that's when you realized a thing called money and time, and you couldn't get certain things, right? Oh, I wanted a bicycle so bad. I wrote a letter to Santa. I'd pray to God. I'd beg my parents, can I get a bicycle for Christmas? And I didn't get a bicycle for Christmas. All right. So it was a sad thing, right? But does that make my childhood had a horrible childhood? I mean, I didn't get my first bicycle until I think until I was a teenager. I was probably 14. But you know, whatever. I didn't grow up rich, but I grew up with family. You know, the richness of family and friends and good relationships for the most part. I'm not saying it was perfect, but anyhow, he does rely on that. He does go back to that. And I think that obviously his fucked up childhood has influenced him in this philosophy, right? And the whole, that's one of the things that I forgot to mention in what pisses me off about Stefan Molyneux. I mentioned, please check out this video, okay? It's 22 minutes, but I talk about homeschooling, and he only has one kid. But real quick, I forgot about the nonviolence, the nonviolent parenting, nonviolent parenting. You know, when your kids go to public school and are influenced by low-class, stupid-ass kids, teaching them bad words, and you try to negotiate with them, and they don't listen, spare the rod, spoil the child. Stefan, all right? So that's another thing that pisses me off about Stefan Molyneux. Yeah, to the extent that you can not be physical with your children, yes, talk to them, negotiate with them. But sometimes they need an ass whooping. All right, ass whooping has to come. So that's another thing that I hate about Stefan Molyneux. What pisses me off about Stefan Molyneux. But that's the guy. So now he claims that he has the most popular philosophy channel on YouTube. And again, this is one of the things that I said would piss me off about Stefan Molyneux. He spent 10 years. That's true. That's true. Alleluia is saying that Molyneux did a great documentary on 100 years of independence of Poland. That is true. He did. And that's one of my criticisms of him, because it took him this long to figure it out, that Poland is awesome. And that's one of the things that pisses me off about Stefan and his whole shit about, whatever. You'll watch my video and you'll see. Yeah, he did do a good video on Poland and Poland's independence. And then he was begging for more money to do more projects. Like, dude, I use an iPhone 6, iPhone 7 to do my videos. I don't need no $6,000 4K camera. You don't need that to do this kind of shit. I got a $200 studio right here that's doing this live stream. Okay? Okay? This is a 2008 iMac, and knock on wood, it's still working. It's still working. I mean, obviously I can't push it to the limits, but guys, this is a 2008 iMac because my 2010 MacBook Pro just died. All right? So think about it. Think about it. I'm not complaining. I'll get that MacBook fixed, or I'll fix it myself. It's, Apple, authorized Apple stores here will not touch it. And I believe it has to do with the video card capacitor. Whatever. That's another thing. Anyway, so, that's his thing. So now he runs the most successful, according to him, propaganda channel, philosophy channel on YouTube. So that's Stefan. How far are we on? Oh, yeah, Owen Benjamin. Owen has become a favorite of mine. I know that I have seen him on TV and like on late night shows in the past, but that's the extent of it. I think I saw him on Alex Jones a while back. Yeah, hugepianist.com, but I never followed up. He was there. I thought he was okay. So when I was watching Alex Jones on a more regular basis, or watching the clips, and I thought he was cool, but I didn't really get anything from him. Okay, but his hard luck story is that he grew up in upstate New York. Where's it at? Whatever, upstate New York in basically a small town. Essentially, it's like the Midwest. Look, if you leave Long Island, if you leave New York City, you leave Yonkers and Westchester County. You go upstate, it's like in the Midwest. It's God's country, man. It's just you go from $500,000 houses to $100,000 houses. You go from $50,000 an acre to $500 an acre, right? Around Schenectady and Buffalo and those places. At least it used to be. At least it used to be like that. Now, with the possibility of fracking, although the New York governor has banned fracking like a dumbass, Cuomo, get the plug out of your ass. I'm sorry, I'm on a tangent here, but it may be too late. Maybe the land prices have gone up, but at some point, there's going to be a new regime in New York, and fracking will be allowed. It only makes sense. You're right next to New York City. Just build a pipeline down to New York City and Long Island and supply them with clean burning natural gas. Come on, think about it. Be a huge, huge boon to New York State. Anyhow, he grew up in this really small town that has nuclear power plants there, and there was a huge pedo gate in that area where he grew up. Now he doesn't get into details, but he has been exposed to trauma. Let's call it. I don't know. He never really gets into it, and he says he's not going to discuss it. So I don't know if he was touched as a child, or if he was sexually assaulted or molested or something like that, or maybe even worse. But he uses that, or he refers to that when he's talking about these demons and wizards and pedophiles that he sees or saw in Hollywood and in other places. And I really like Owen. Of all these people, the two people that I probably would want to have a beer with is SIGGAs and Owen Benjamin. SIGGAs would probably be good for one beer, and then yo man, I'm out. But Owen would be awesome. Owen would be a really cool guy to hang out with and just shoot the shit with, and because I got a little. I don't have a big farm, but I'm growing grapes, and he's becoming a Renaissance man. He's a couple years behind me, but he's got a bigger plot of land. I'm growing grapes. I'm growing strawberries. I'm growing blackberries. I'm growing blueberries, apples, pears. I have one lemon in my lemon tree, and I'm in Poland. I'm in Poland, mother effer. I'm in Poland. But listen, the truth is, Poland is the climate is quite similar to upstate New York. I think we get a little bit colder. You might get more snow. At least when it snows there, you get more snow. But it's pretty similar, I think, the climate-wise. Anyway, but I think he now lives in Washington State. This Wikipedia says that he lives in New York, and that's not true. He's from upstate New York. So, but one thing, update on this guy, hugepianist.com, Owen Benjamin. He plays the piano. He's awesome on that. He's a comedian. He's funny as hell. SIGGAs is funny, but it's a little bit maybe more let's say street humor. It's not as sophisticated as Owen, but SIGGAs is funny. He can be very funny. Owen is definitely more sophisticated and just hilarious, man. And he can play the piano. He can do all kinds of cool stuff. He would be a really cool dude to hang out with, man. Owen, if you're watching this, dude, I'm 6 feet tall, man. So I'm in the sweet spot. There's no height issues here. I know you're 6'7", pushing 6'8". All right, bro. You would be a little bit taller than me, but it's all good, man. It's all good. We would be able to hang, man. But getting back, chickens would be good. You got chickens already. That's right. Pigs is an issue, man. Pigs is an issue. But you don't want pigs. You want cows or not cows, but sheep and goats. He's got a huge property. Is what I'm trying to say. But anyways, cool dude. And essentially, the overriding theme of this video is that all these people had hard luck stories, and they've overcome them. Except for SIGGAs, who did overcame it, at least at some point, and now he broke his damn ankles, and he's in a world of hurt right now. But I do believe, I truly believe that he will be able to overcome that. If he, stays strong, SIGGAs. Stay strong. So, that's what we got here, people. That's real life. That people, all kinds of different people, they go through all kinds of different things in their lives. And they overcome them. That's what you have to do, is overcome. And whether it's with the help of Jesus or transcendental meditation or secular philosophy or comedy or modeling your behavior after somebody else who's more successful than you, or a combination of all of those things, it is possible. And that's what this is about, what this show is about. When I say at the end, make it happen for the captain because you're the captain, that's what I'm talking about, people. You're the captain. So whatever adversities that have happened in your life, just keep moving forward. Don't let that shit bog you down. Don't let that shit get you down. It's going to get you down. You're going to be a little bit down for a little while. Okay? But recognize it for what it is. You're down, but you're not out. If you get knocked down, if you can look up, you can get up. That's this other motivational speaker used to say. Baby Willie Brown, something like that. So, folks, thank you so much for joining me on this live stream about hard luck stories. Oh, how you can use them. Yeah, so before again, live and unscripted, no script, no notes, no nothing. This is from memory. The last point I want to make is, how can you use this in your life? Besides recognizing that these people all started out with, except for Depak, have hard luck stories. They've overcome it. They've risen, cream of the crop rises to the top. Eye of the tiger. They've come back from the dead, basically. They come back from the whatever was pushing them down or hurting them. That's number one. Number two, I don't recommend lying like the college kid I was talking about for sympathy. And because you come across weak. In my opinion, you come across weak. You come across as a fucking faggot when you tell people. Dude, I have plenty of hard luck stories, but I'm just trying to explain. I don't dwell on it. I don't dwell on it because you sound like a fucking punk. You sound like a weak ass bitch. If you're like, oh, I had a hard childhood. I mean, when I was 6 years old, my mama didn't buy me an ice cream, and I still remember that. It hurts. That's how you sound. Of course, it's different if you were, sexually molested as a child and the perpetrator got off, But then if you didn't go fucking kill his ass, or get somebody to kill his ass, I'm told for 500 rubles you can get a Russian to do anything. Okay, I digress. I'm just kidding about that. But I meant rupees and I meant Indians. I'm just kidding about that. I meant Harevna and I'm talking Ukrainians. I'm just kidding about that. But you know what I'm saying. But yeah, look, I'm overcoming stuff all the time. Like I recently lost a contract, a job, because I questioned the corporate sodomy policy during Tolerance Week promoting LGBT propaganda. I'm in the process of overcoming that, right? Now, obviously, I have multiple irons in the fire, so I'm able to persist, and I'm still looking at legal recourse, looking into that. So that story, that chapter has not been written, but you can see, I've been fired from other jobs. You just keep moving forward, man. You just keep moving forward. I lost contracts. I was working on projects, and the contracts were lost. I was working for companies, and they went out of business, didn't pay me. All these things are huge problems. I got into car crashes. A couple times I didn't have insurance, but I overcame. I don't recommend that, especially in the United States or anywhere. Get insurance. Get car insurance. But this is life, right? This is your life. Carpe diem, seize the day, right? So I do not recommend you making up hard luck stories because you come off as a punk, and it's almost like, what are you going to compare the Olympics of oppression or the Olympics of suffering? If somebody says I had a bad childhood, then you start arguing that you had a worse childhood. I mean, I worked at a company where a guy was like that, and it was just ridiculous, man. It was just, again, the guy just came across as a real weak POS, and he, I mean, he's gone now. I don't know what he's doing now. He's really weird dude, and I don't think he's very successful. So it didn't help him, and talking. It's not now. You can use, when you have an issue, for instance, there was a guy who, somebody broke his car window in college, and his insurance company wouldn't pay for the window. So he started digging in to figure out how does this insurance stuff work, and he wound up becoming an insurance salesman while he was still in college. And, by the time he was middle-aged, this dude was a rich, successful black businessman. He was a black American businessman. And I had the honor to meet him and talk to him. I was trying to sell him a vacuum cleaner. And he didn't buy the vacuum cleaner, but he told me his story, and it was really motivating, right? That he overcame this issue and turned it into a really huge success story. I know other people who had legal problems, and then, or they were, let's say something happened to them, they went to the police or something like that, the police wouldn't help them, and they went on to go to law school to, understand this whole law thing and try to kick some ass. So that's another way that you can overcome, right? Something happens to you, don't let it bring you down. Use that as motivation to push forward, right? Just don't let that get you down. I mean, you may feel, I want to say, not depressed, depressed a little bit. You may feel sad or whatever for a little while, but and that's okay. I think it's okay to allow yourself a little bit of time to recover, but don't get stuck in a rut. Don't get stuck in a stupor, as it were. Get the hell up. Again, if you can look up, you can get up, right? So that's the main thing. So, the cynical wizard would say, yeah, make up a story. Right, just so you can understand, the cynical wizard or the son of a bitch would probably tell you to make up a story so that you will get sympathy, with your co-workers or your colleagues or something like that, right? And it might work, right? It may work, but those guys are effing a-holes, and I know plenty of them that are like that. They're users. You become a weak user. Right? You're unable to stand on your own 2 feet, and you sound weak and pathetic. When if it comes out sort of subtly, that's different. That's different. But if you're like, hi, my name's HolyJoe Rock and Roll. I had a really horrible childhood, man. Can you give me a ride home? Like, what the fuck? No, man. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So there's a time and place for everything, and you probably don't need to share that information with most people. Especially if it's you're making it up, right? If it's true, at the right appropriate point, you might want to or need to or think that you need to share that information. But I'm just saying in general, just move forward, right? Just move forward, right? So I think that just about wraps it up. Any questions in the chat? Any super chat? So show your support for Joe Bonzak Poland. Super chat. Oh, I can't send myself a super chat message. What is this? Say something. Bang. Go back. Oh, okay. I could send a little emoji. So, listen, everybody. Thank you for watching. This has been great. It's Tuesday. It's 8:39. The 15th of January, 2019. I'm your host, HolyJoe Rock and Roll. This has been live and unscripted. And I'll see you tomorrow. I think I'm going to do this every day while I have a little bit of time. That's right, man. We're called Americans because we can. So Mexicans, you can rebuild your country. And don't try to cross that wall illegally, all right? Remember to make it happen for the captain because you're the captain. Okay, folks, be sure to hit that subscribe button. If you're new to this channel, thumb it up and comment. Thank you again for watching. This has been Holy Joe Rock and Roll, coming at you live and unscripted. Hard luck stories and the people who tell them. See you tomorrow at 8 o'clock Central European Time.